Now, for the very last one, what do we do when we have 4 terms? Remember we said whenever you have 4 terms, what you're going to do is you're going to do something called grouping. So I'm going to do the grouping method, and I do have 4 terms, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I'm going to do first is that I'm going to put them in groups of 2. Notice here I'm going to put the first 2 together, and I'm still going to have them separated by plus. So put the plus, and then I'm going to put the last 2 together. Then I'm going to say, looking at these 2, what can I factor out of both? Here, if you notice, I can factor out a y squared from both. So on the outside I have a y squared. When I reduce each one of the fractions, I have a y plus 3. So that takes care of this. Plus, I'm going to look at these 2 terms and say, what can I factor out? I can factor out, looks like a 4. So I have a 4 and a y plus 3. Now I want you to notice something. Notice inside the parentheses they're actually identical. This is what you want to make sure happens. If they're not identical, then you need to go back and refactor. So now my answer will be whatever's on the outside will be a factor of itself. And you will only need one of the factors that are in parentheses, not both, just one. This now becomes my final answer. We'll look at one more dealing with 4 terms. We're going to do the same concept. We're going to take the first 2, put them in parentheses, separated by a plus, and put the last 2. Okay? Now, when I do that, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to look and say, okay, what can I factor out of the first 2 terms? I can factor out a 3a. I'm going to factor it out. That goes on the outside. Reducing each fraction, looks like that's an a and a minus 2. That's fine. Then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to factor out a 4b, looks like. What I factored out now will be a 4b, and reduce each one, looks like I'm left with an a, and when I reduce that, I'm left with a 2. Once again, notice inside the parentheses they are identical, so you're okay. So now, what am I going to do? I'm going to have 2 sets of parentheses again. These are my factors. And whatever's on the outside will be inside the first set of parentheses. And what I have as far as the parentheses themselves, notice once again, it's not squared, it's just a minus 2. That once again becomes your factor. I hope this has been very beneficial to you, and if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to let me know.